Hi everyone, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 nonfictions that I've read recently. I am trying to read more nonfiction this year because I looked at my Goodreads, I looked up what I've read throughout the years, and I've noticed that I haven't read much nonfiction at all. I will put on the screen what I've read throughout the years, but other than this, I haven't really read any nonfiction. I did read Spare this year as well, but I am definitely going to change that this year, and I already read another 3 books the past month that I want to talk to you about today. The first book that I have for you is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is really popular and it has a high rating for a reason because it's really well written. The storytelling is amazing. This is a signed copy that I got at Barnes & Noble's for Black Friday. So that was exciting. I knew I was gonna read this, so I grabbed it immediately. And yeah, whenever I think of celebrity memoirs, I'm always hesitant and my expectations aren't very high. I think about how relatable their story is going to be to me. But this was extremely well written and fast paced, and I was never bored. I never got distracted reading this one. She talks about friendships, she talks about eating disorders and fame and being a child actress and jealousy, and especially the relationship with her mom. Obviously, as you can tell by the title. I love the title and the cover, by the way. It was really interesting seeing her talk about her relationship with her mom. It all starts when she was a child and her mom forced her. She was really persistent and convinced her to get into acting. She was always signing her up for auditions and tried so hard to get her a manager, and she finally did, and she became a child actress. But she wasn't really interested in acting. Actually, she is more interested in screenwriting and directing, and whenever she would express that interest, her mom would panic in a way and say, "No, but you love acting." And Jeanette, not wanting to start an argument, she would agree with her and continue on being an actress. Her mom did go through cancer when she was a child. She recovered, but then eventually she got cancer again when Jeanette was in her late teens, I want to say, and eventually passed away. And she talks about how in a certain way she felt relieved that she did. She felt free once her mom passed away because she was free to quit acting and actually pursue what she wanted to pursue. She also talks about how her mom encouraged her eating disorder because when she went through puberty, she was concerned about how her body changing would affect her acting career, so she encouraged her to eat less calories so she would stay skinny and look younger than her actual age. And everyone around her saw that, but her mom wasn't really concerned. I think her mom did have an eating disorder as well. She talks about being a child actress and how the directors treated her. She talks about her friendship with Miranda Cosgrove from iCarly. She talks about her romantic relationships and her jealousy towards Ariana Grande at one point. They did Sam and Cat together. She was in a way jealous of the fact that they would let Ariana pursue whatever she was pursuing with her singing career, and they would like build the schedule around Ariana's schedule. And at one point she did want to direct an episode and they promised her that she would, but they never let her do that because someone threatened to quit if she did. We don't know who. I just really enjoyed this book. I recommend it. It is great and I gave it 5 stars. The next book that I want to talk about that I've read this past month is Hood Feminism: Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot by Mikki Kendall. This is a collection of essays written by Mikki Kendall about how white feminism is very inclusive to women who are not white. And every essay has a different theme and she talks about how women of color are not as protected as white women are. For example, for what concerns rape culture, there's an essay in which she talks about fast women. Growing up, women are told to not be fast or not to hang out with fast women, and fast basically means that these young ladies look older than their age, they look grown, and they are overly sexual. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they have had sexual relationships or they have like kissed someone. That doesn't necessarily mean that. As long as they look grown, they could be considered fast. And that's insane, honestly. And this leads her into a discussion of rape culture and victim blaming, and how we still today have this mentality of blaming the victim, and how it's their fault that they were raped because they were wearing a skirt or shorts or a top. And we still think of men having needs and they cannot help themselves, which is BS. And yes, that was really infuriating. And she talks about fetishization and how a lot of white women dress up as Pocahontas and other people of color, and they are overly sexualized, and they claim that it's celebrating the culture and it's empowering, but at the same time, whenever something happens, it's frowned upon. I think that was my favorite part of this book, because it was really interesting. It did make me angry, but she talks about a lot of other stuff. She talks about poverty and how most poor families are led by single mothers. It talks about gun violence, how the media doesn't really cover gun violence in the hood. They're mostly concentrating in whenever gun violence happens in predominantly white neighborhoods. These issues are not as important as other issues for white feminists, but there actually are feminist issues that need to be considered and talked about. I recommend this book. I learned so much and I gave it 4 stars. Last book that I want to talk about today is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Chanel Miller is the survivor of the Stanford sexual assault case that happened in 2015. And this was amazing. The writing was amazing. You can really feel her anger. I was infuriated reading this book. It's very tiring. So it's not an ideal book for a 24-hour read, I would say, because it is very tiring. You go through the whole court experience. She starts telling the story from the beginning. She talks about her night out and how, yes, she was drunk, yes, she was out trying to have fun with her friends, and she did black out at one point, and she wakes up the next day in a hospital full of grass in her hair, and she doesn't know what happened, and all she knows is that she is in a hospital bed without her underwear, and doctors aren't really telling her what happened. And then she finds out through the media that there was a sexual assault at a party at Stanford when she was there, and she puts 2 and 2 together, and she found out that she's actually the victim here. She was sexually assaulted, and the only reason why she ended up in a hospital is thanks to 2 Swedish students who stopped Brock Turner. Going back to the whole victim blaming thing, that part is very infuriating to me, because why I know that the lawyer is doing their job, but reading the questions that they asked Chanel was very infuriating. They always try and manipulate her into saying something that could be interpreted in a wrong way. And whenever they talk about Brock, it's just a stupid mistake that young men do, and he's just a college kid that got drunk, and men have needs, and all that bullshit. Honestly, wasn't she a young woman too? Can't she get drunk without getting touched without her permission? To find out that he only got 6 months in jail that turned into be 3 months for good conduct or whatever was very dehumanizing and disrespectful. And the whole Stanford situation too was very infuriating. Them wanting to build a garden where the dumpster was, where she was raped, that just left a bad taste in my mouth. And at the end of the day, these are businesses that only care about money and their image. Overall, this was a great read. I gave it 5 stars. I encourage you to read it as well. The title of this book, Know My Name, is perfect because no one actually knew who she was unless she told them. For so long, she was known as Emily Doe all these years, and now she finally wrote her book and everybody knows her story, and I'm glad they do. Hey guys, so I'm editing the video and realized that I haven't said goodbye. I don't know what happened, but I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!